Let's go, let's go, let's go. Get him, get him. No, 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 no. Yes! That's game, that's game. What a great day in Tampa Bay. Our first playoff win since 2003. In January when we won our first and only Super Bowl. I remember back then I was 13 years old at the time, and now I'm 31, so it's been literally like 18 years since our first win. And obviously, as we know, we haven't made the playoffs since 07 when George Bush was in office. So it's been a really long time coming. I know prior to the game I was like nervous. I'm like, we have to win this game. We need to get at least one playoff win this year, or else it's going to be a huge disappointment. But before I get into my reaction for this game, if you are new here, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. I am Rami B, and as you can see from my page, I post weekly Buccaneer videos. If you see me gazing over to my side, I'm looking at stats of the game just so I am accurate with my information. And so I don't say anything wrong. But wonderful win, wonderful performance. I had a slight feeling that the Bucs could blow this game out and win it really early, but as a majority of the analysts said, this is a tough matchup for Tampa with the defensive line, the defensive pressure of Washington, even though their secondary wasn't as good. But we did come out with a 31-23 win, a close game. The score doesn't look as close as the game actually was. This was Brady's 31st playoff win, so the most ever by a quarterback since 1950, which is absolutely ridiculous to think about. He's probably got more playoff wins than a lot of franchises, probably more than half of the franchises in the NFL, which just talks about how great of a player he is, even though he was with the Patriots and stuff. But the fact that he got another one now, I think if he gets one more playoff win, he doubles Joe Montana for the most since then. It's crazy. But overall, the team played a wonderful game. Offense specifically, defense was a little shaky, but the offense had 507 yards of total offense with 365 passing and 142 rushing. Which is crazy to think about. Washington was like the solid defense that everybody talked about, and I know like no team has hung over 20 points on them since the past 11 weeks, or not the past 11 weeks, since like early November, and like they're, all these crazy stats, and we hung 507. And I know a lot of people that know me, a lot of my friends texted me like, y'all barely got by, and you're gonna struggle forward. And I'm like, you guys don't realize Washington's defense was way better than a lot of people were thinking. And if our offense looked bad with 507 yards of total offense and 31 points, then what's going to happen when we play a defense that isn't as good? You know what I'm saying? Or when we have a good offensive game. But Brady was impeccable. 22 for 40, 381 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was getting hit a little bit. I think he got sacked 2 or 3 times during the game, but he was delivering really accurate passes to the receivers. I know he did get plagued with some drop passes, especially from Chris Godwin, which I'll get into in a little bit. But overall, he had a very great, wonderful performance. We did kind of sputter in the red zone a few times. I know our first 3 trips into the red zone, we were 0 for 3 in touchdowns, and we had 3 field goals. That's 9 points. You convert one out of those 3 or 2, and this game is a complete blowout. Fournette was 19 carries, 19 carries for 93 yards and 1 touchdown. I didn't know what was going on with Rojo until they mentioned that he hurt his calf or his quad in pre-game. So Fournette came in and he filled in wonderfully, 4.9 yards a carry, and this is like the playoff Fournette. I think I read that in his entire playoff career, I think he had 3 playoff games with the Jaguars. He never rushed below 90 yards and never had 0 touchdowns. So he's still keeping that streak going. It's good that we have someone that has some playoff experience. Keyshawn Vaughn, 5 carries for 21 yards and 1 fumble. He was getting a good yards per carry, obviously over 4, but that fumble really hurt. Ball got punched out and he didn't see the field again. Hopefully if Rojo's back next week, it'll be Rojo and Fournette for sure. We're not going to see much of Vaughn. Now let's get into the receiving. Evans was 6 for 119. I know there was all this worry about, is he going to play? And then if he can play, let's bench him, let's sit him. We don't need him. But 6 for 119, 20 yards a catch pretty much. And he kind of got dinged up and had to like kind of limp off the field, and came back and had a huge reception that took us down to the 3 near the end of the game. Cameron Brate, 4 for 80. What more can we say? 20 yards a catch there as well. He was kind of the forgotten man on the offense, and it's kind of now looking good that we did keep him on the roster because Gronk was utilized, it seemed, mostly to help block Chase Young, who, by the way, had 0 QB hits and 0 sacks after talking all that trash, and Donovan Smith held him in check. But anyways, he was used in to kind of chip and help out with that. So, you need some production since O.J. Howard, we know, is out since like pretty much the whole season. Having Cameron Brate there that can really step in and fill that void really helped. even though he did that after the drop touchdown, but I'm not necessarily going to call it a drop touchdown. He was catching it pretty low and it touched the ground, so it wasn't necessarily like a drop, but solid performance, clutch performance. We needed him on third down. He was getting some catches and getting yards after a catch too to kind of convert a lot of those. Godwin, 5 receptions, 79 yards, and 1 touchdown. Should have been a second touchdown that he dropped. And then he, like, in the second half, he got plagued with a bunch of drops. He dropped, like, 3 straight passes, maybe 4. There was one deep ball that kind of hit him perfectly. I don't know if he hurt one of his hands or his fingers on one of his catches or what was going on, or if it was playoff nerves or, you know, just thinking, like, I need to catch it. I don't know what it is, but I'm not too worried about it. He normally catches, like, 90+% of the balls thrown his way. If it was playoff nerves, then, you know, now it should be gone because he got past his first playoff game. But, you know, still fine. AB had 2 for 49 and 1 touchdown. At the beginning, in the first quarter, he had that wide open 30-yard touchdown pass. I'm kind of upset that we didn't use him more. I know we did use him on an end around, and he gained 22 yards rushing on that. You thought after last week's performance against Atlanta that he was going to get more targets, but I guess we didn't necessarily need it. Again, Brady threw 381 yards, 119 to Evans, and he spread the ball to a lot of other receivers. And then Fournette, 4 for 39. I know he had an issue with dropping the ball like all season on screen passes and wheel routes and stuff. He did catch 39 yards, pretty much 10 yards a catch, which is what we needed. But now let's flip over to the defensive side. The defense was pretty suspect the whole game. It seemed like we were playing a lot of off-coverage zone again, which I don't understand why. Heineke had 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, was scrambling on us. We had no answer. I know after the game, the coaching, and I think Sean Murphy-Bunting said that they weren't sure who was going to play. And when they found out Heineke was going to play, they kind of stuck to their game plan and adjusted on the fly, which works now with a quarterback like Heineke on that team, but will not work moving forward with the Saints, with the Rams, with the Packers, with whoever comes out of the AFC for the Super Bowl if we make it that far. So that's something to keep an eye out on. But in the fourth quarter, like the last 8, 9, 10 minutes of the game, the defense really clamped down when needed. Sean Murphy-Bunting did have one pick that was tipped, I want to say, by Shaq Barrett. I'm not necessarily sure. Or maybe it was Kevin Minter, I think. It was tipped, and he picked the ball off a diving pick, which was really good for momentum swing in the beginning, and then I think that's what led to the first touchdown. Anthony Nelson had 1 sack, and Levante David had the other sack, which was, you know, great to see. He was the longest tenured Buck. 9 seasons, no playoff experience. Finally got his playoff game, and really the play that sealed it. It was 3rd and 10. He sacked Heineke and turned it to 4th and 18, which ultimately led to that Hail Mary throw into like double or triple coverage. And then, you know, going to special teams, Suckup was 4 for 4 on field goals. Again, nothing to worry about. He did have 1 missed extra point. And then they did mention that he's had the 3rd most missed extra points, which is weird because I feel like he only missed like 2 prior to this game, maybe 3. But anyways, that's very interesting. But yeah, overall, the defense needs to really step up and clamp down. The pass rush has been kind of non-existent. 2 sacks. Last week, I think we only had 1 sack or 2 sacks as well. We're not kind of getting the number of sacks like we used to. Next week, though, Devin White comes back, and you know when he's there, he's really good at blitzing, and that's going to definitely change the pass rush and the dynamic. And if a quarterback decides to scramble, again, Devin White will be there and stop them. But going into next week, as of right now, the Saints and Bears have not played, with the Rams upsetting the Seahawks. If the Saints win, we will be traveling to New Orleans next week, and if the Bears win, we will be hosting the Rams. So there's no chance for us to play Green Bay during this round. Now, if we do host the Rams, I feel good about it. We almost beat them on that Monday Night Football when we were looking really bad, and our offense wasn't clicking. We only lost by 3, and we had a chance to go down and score a game-winning touchdown or field goal or tie it with a field goal, and Brady threw a really bad pick. That won't happen again. I think the Rams are struggling. They've been struggling the second half of the season. Now, if we go to New Orleans, this is the scary part, because New Orleans is the team that I fear the most. I'm not worried about Green Bay as much or Kansas City. Part of me wants the Saints to lose to the Bears because they're always notorious for losing to Kirk Cousins and Case Keenum and all that, so it's only fitting that the Saints lose to Mitch Trubisky. But there's a really, really good chance that we do go to New Orleans. And now, I know I said the Week 9 matchup was going to be different and we got blown out. I don't believe Brady could lose 3 times to the same team and the same defense. I think after what happened last time where the Saints beat us at home, blew us out, danced in our locker room, and talked all this smack, I can definitely see that this team will be ready to play the Saints if that's who it is. I think they will watch that video and use it. And, you know, now they're proving something. Last time they were first in the division, Saints came, even though they were looking forward to it. I think they were kind of riding high. But this time it's like, no, they swept us, but this is the game that matters. It'll be a tough game if we play the Saints. Again, like I said, hopefully we don't have to, but it'll feel better if we do play them, beat them, and then have to move on, and go to the Super Bowl through that route, just to kind of really bury them. Because if they lose to the Bears and then, we advance, they're going to be like, well, we didn't play Tampa, or the Bucs didn't have to play us, whatever. But yeah, it was a great performance to see. I was very nervous at some points of the game, but again, we played a really good defense, and I think not having fans in the Washington Stadium really hurt. I think players get hype off of the fans, whether it's away fans or home fans. Next week, if we go to New Orleans, I think they do have fans, and if we host the Rams, we're definitely going to have fans. So we'll see what happens. But Buck Nation, congratulations on your first playoff win in 18 years. Congratulations. This is a really big moment. Very big for the team, for a lot of the players' psyche, and I think now that they got that playoff fear and anxiety out of the way, they'll be ready for whoever we play next week. Definitely have to make some adjustments on the defensive end. Like I said, some more press man coverage, especially if we play the Saints, who shredded us when we played zone. But we do have a very smart coaching staff, so hopefully they do put it together. And yeah, please comment down below. What is your how are you feeling about this game? How are you feeling about this first win, this first playoff win in so long? I'm sure there's a lot of fans that have never experienced a Buccaneer playoff win. If you were born during the Super Bowl year after, you're probably 18, 19 now. So how does it feel, Buck Nation? Does it feel like, does it feel like it's gonna go and get to that Super Bowl? But yeah, comment that down below. And as always, if you are new here again, make sure you subscribe. Let's go Buck Nation. Let's get another win on the way. Let's start stacking them up. 3 more wins for a Super Bowl. We're 5-0 since the bye. Let's make it 8-0. And as always, thank you for tuning in, and I am out.
Our offense tough, our defense rough. Go Bucks, go Bucks. Ain't no other team stopping us. Go Bucks, go Bucks.